Cafe Networking podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Riau, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Capitola, California, Philippa Gamse, owner and chief digital marketing strategist at Websites That Win International. Provides digital marketing strategy and digital analytics consulting services. So, Philippa, what are the most important metrics that we should be following?
Hi, thank you, Tom. Good morning. And, it's a great question, but of course, like usually, there's no one size fits all answer. So metrics are the numbers that you're looking at in your website analytics, right? So, and some of them are more important than others. So we talk about key performance indicators, right? Which is what's the most important thing I need to know? And the most important thing that you need to know will depend on what you're trying to do.
Right.
So actually the most important thing that everybody with a website who wants to know how well their website is performing should do is figure out what it is that they're trying to achieve. So that might be sales, obviously, if you have a site where you're selling stuff, e-commerce sites, or you're selling ebooks or content or subscriptions or memberships or whatever it might be. And you might have other things that you want them to do as well. So you might be running a lead generation site. So you want people to sign up for your offer or your newsletter or something else, right? You might be somebody who's promoting a whole load of content. And so one of your goals is simply to get people to stay on your site and clearly consume content. And so these days, for example, we have pretty powerful analytics now. So you can figure out how much of any video people watch.
Right.
You do podcasts, right? You can figure out how much of the podcast people actually listen to. Or
so that's one of my key metrics. That's one of the things that drives me, really, seriously.
And, the thing is that these things are important. I've actually worked with quite a lot of clients who don't realize that many people fall off content in the first 30 seconds.
Right.
If the first 30 seconds doesn't grab people, they're gone. And I've seen so many business owners make the most of videos which have fantastic content. But unfortunately, the first 30 seconds consists of, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. and for many years, I was blah, blah, blah. And people are gone.
They're gone.
Before they get into that really good content.
Right. When I say, I'm looking at your site right now, I see you've reviewed more than 5,000 websites. And what you say is that almost all of them had hidden revenue opportunities. So really the person has a site, we don't really look at our own site.
Well, actually, sometimes we do. One of the problems in looking at your own site is that you understand your site because you created it. You understand your content. It's actually really, really helpful to again, looking at analytics or having people look at your site, but who don't know your site or don't know you in the same way. Because I can't tell you how many times I've said to a client, people can't find that. And the client will say to me, but it's right there. And I'll say that you can see it because, it's buried in the side or it's buried at the bottom or something because it's there because you made it. But the analytics don't lie about where people go and what they click on and how much attention they pay to you. And so it's really helpful information to look at.
Well, we need that also because from a search standpoint, it's really the search engines that are bringing possible viewers or visitors to a specific point on a site. And if that point doesn't exist, there's no door to get in.
Yeah, from a search perspective. And search, organic search, which is the search you don't pay for, is still certainly one of the top sources of quality traffic for most websites anyway. I mean, there are, advertising is okay, but it tends not to get the same level of quality because when people are searching, they're telling you what they're looking for. And that means that they have intent. They actually want to find something. Whereas advertising often tends to be interruptive, right? It's interrupting people trying to do something else.
That's exactly true. And more and more. From your experience in the internet, have we gone beyond borders of how much is too much?
Oh, how much is too much? Isn't that a very sort of personal thing? You know, too much. One man's too much might be just right for somebody else. Yeah.
But that gets back to the point. We need to analyze the numbers. We should be analyzing, because we're talking, there are 8 billion people out there.
Right. But that gets back to your first question. What's the most important metric? Because when you say analyze the numbers, you've probably scared off almost all of the entire audience that we have for this podcast. Because for many people, that's a pretty daunting thing to say. And I know that when I talk about analytics, a lot of times people glaze over because it's tough. And I work mostly in Google Analytics 4. There are masses and masses of reports. There are masses of charts and masses of numbers. And for most people, it can be very overwhelming, which is going back to the first question, why you need to know what you're looking for.
Right.
So, what is your most important KPI? What is the most important thing that you want to know? What are you trying to do right now that you could work on to make it go better? Because there's also really very little point in looking at numbers that you can't do anything about.
Well, to that point, then, your consulting service, you're actually helping your clients focus, and you're bringing that out. No, I can see you are from your success.
Yes. I mean, as an example, yesterday I was talking to somebody who said she was actually also a consultant. I was helping her out a little bit, but she said that her clients right now, I don't know if it's a new client, but their key KPI that is page views. And I said, well, that's nice. Hopefully we helped her out over how to sort out a problem that she was having with the data. But okay, now let's go back to the client and say, let's do better than page views, because page views is a so what, right? So you've got X number of page views. What does that mean? How many of those people are the right people for you? Just because, the page is open on your screen, that means you've registered a page view, but is that somebody actually looking at it?
Right.
They might have walked away for a cup of tea.
Right.
Are they interacting with it? Are they scrolling up and down? Again, are they pressing on the videos or filling in a form or whatever it is you want to do on that page? So you want to think about your metrics, not just a raw number, but what are you going to do with that number? Right? Is it actually a meaningful number?
I think your point is correct, that there's probably much more that we can do than we even realize.
Right.
We just sort of scratching the surface.
Right. That's my favorite question is, so what? So here's a number. So what?
Right.
So what do I need to do now? What does it mean? Is it important? Right. There are some numbers are more important than others.
But they're all important. But I think the back to the point, you help persons and you help website owners focus.
Right.
And if it's all important, what is important to them and what they're trying to do, and helping them create whatever their target should be. They may not even have a target.
Right. And then what are we going to do about it?
Then what are we going to do about it? At the beginning, and I'm from the beginning of internet, the objective was just to have a site. And the sites were very, I'm going to call them amateur, because that's what they were. And if you had 4 pages to your site, you would clap your hands. Everybody was, wow. But that was long, long ago. Today it's not that way anymore, and it's probably not going to be that way tomorrow morning. Right. So we have to be on it, and you have to get up early and work, right?
Yep. Well, and ask the right questions.
That's true. So how can our listeners find you to ask those questions?
So my website is websitesthatwin.com. That's all one word. www.websitesthatwin.com. And I actually have a free offer on the site, which is a little ebook, which is called 5 Hidden Gems. It's 5 stories, and nobody should be worried about this, because the stories are in English. There's no graphics, there's no charts. I mean, there's graphics, sorry, but there's no charts, there's no numbers. It's English stories from my experience in consulting of 5 ways, different businesses in which we found out an insight in the analytics that caused us to make a change either to the website, or in some cases actually to the business strategy or the business model. So the big stuff, which was obviously successful, otherwise it wouldn't be in there.
Right.
But based on data, based on an insight that we wouldn't have known without looking at the analytics. And what I'm trying to do here is to inspire business owners to take another look at our analytics and see what they might reveal that could cause them to make real transformational impact in what they're doing.
Best advice. So thanks again for being here.
Thank you very much.
And again, for our audience, it's Philippa Gamse. It's Philippa, the last name Gamse. You'll find her on the websitesthatwin.com. Websitesthatwin.com. There you'll find the free book, 5 Hidden Digital Analytics Gems. Also find her on LinkedIn. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.